In a day, I'll be leaving here, the Zen temple. And last night, I thought about something interesting. I wish I can explain very clearly. It started by me checking the Uber, and the reason is that I have this iPhone to set up, but if they don't come, it's going to be trouble. So I thought, well, let's check on the laptop if I can do this on Uber. So it took some time, and it's interesting that I was a little jittery. So I thought about various things. The important thing is to relax all the time as much as possible. And for that, you need to prepare. I heard this from my ex-wife that her father, at his old age, was very careful about doing things. It takes time. And I can understand. I'm at age 77. So I think about what can happen and prepare for it. So it took a fair amount of time to set up this room, to clean up and leave things for the next year when I come back, hopefully. I have a place at my cousin's place so that I can pick up my stuff and ready to go to this place or North Shore or other places. So preparation, planning, not to miss things. But we still make a mistake, so we plan not make a mistake. So what is this all about? Because we cannot plan everything. We have to adjust to whatever happens flexibly. And we get to the point of Zen I want to talk about. At the age 30-something, someone at the Stanford at the business school I was asked me what is Zen, and I couldn't answer. Now, years later, 40-some years later, I can answer that. Zen is about to find a way that you feel comfortable to whatever happens. And later I found this quote by Shibayama, Zenkei Shibayama in Japan. And he said in one of the books, I remember, when there's nothing you can do, that's the entrance of Zen. And that's so true. Example of Uber is just a little thing, but things happen in life. So let me share how we can prepare for that. But one thing you can think about is that eventually you're going to die. So how do you prepare? That's included. And all the time feel comfortable. So I'm at age 77. I'm almost there. I can be there at some time. But like in this case, what if, now how to prepare? Give me a little sense to confirm the basis of what Zen may be talking about. Be at ease at whatever things happen, whether it's the Uber not showing up or showing up, or my tire or the bicycle puncture, or whatever happens at the airport, or I may be at the deathbed sometime. All these things can happen and will happen. So how to prepare? That's interesting. You can call it the koan. Koan is like a conundrum or puzzle. You face unthinkable or unavoidable, and in that situation, what do? So that's basically Zen. So the koan, you may know some of them, but all the event that I faced is a koan. And be relaxed, find a way, prepare it, and when things don't happen, you are still okay. So to answer that, one of the questions is, who are we? Some people think we have the free will, but did you have a free will to come to this world, to be born? I don't think so. So there's something absolute that you cannot do. So to get to know what the something absolute, and if you are familiar with that, and you realize you are that absolute being, then whatever happens, it's just the nature's way. So asking who you are, that's one of the big questions. And in Zen, there's a story of a king. I'm not going to go into detail, but the king asked the Bodhidharma, the Zen monk, who are you? And he said, I don't know. That's the answer. So that answer is interesting. I don't know. Do I know who I am? Well, I can say my name is, and I have done this, and then my work, you can characterize it, but what are you really? And if you know the answer, and if the answer is the nature's way, because nature put us on this earth, you may start to look at life in a different manner. The chance of us born on this earth and speaking, in my case, and you listening, what's the chance? You didn't plan to be born, but once you are born, you want to know what this life is about. And if you think or realize the life is, you don't know, but there's something in there. And let's call it, it's an absolute state of being. We are always at the absolute state of being. Things happen nature's way. Accept it because we are such a result. So some of the koan is, who are you? And some sages said, I am that, or I am that I am. What is that, or that I am? That's the absolute being, absolute state of being. That's how I would respond. It's a nature's way, and you cannot avoid it. So that's one answer to that question. And if you really experience that, then you are always at home. But when we have a mind, and the Uber is late, or planes crashing, or camp crash, or something's happening, war may be coming, we jitter. We try to figure out. That's natural, because we are living being, and the meaning of the living being is that we went through this unbelievable chance of getting on this earth to be living. There's a reason for that. There's a creative source behind it. And we are the creative source. And that creative source is such that all the difficulties, unbelievable hardship, still living being is prevailing, and they live and die. I'm one of them. You are one of them. But if you go beyond your self-centered view, that I have a free will so that I can challenge this and live forever, of course you can do that. That's how we overcome hardship because of the brain to be who we are. But still there's things that you cannot do. The plane crash, I hope it doesn't happen, or the Uber late, or anything. Disease, relationship, money, fame, everything transient, impermanent. So what is permanent? That's what it is. I am that I am. I am the universe. I am the way of the universe manifesting this form. And if we know that, not in brain, but experientially, then you can be at ease. When the lion's coming, you would try to defend. That's natural. But down deep, if we have such a conviction, anything happens, we may just respond the best we can, beyond the mind, from the core of who we are. So whatever things happen, in a way, you accept it, not jitter, and that's the training. And because things are impermanent, that training requires some consistent way to confirm that at the core we have that absolute state of being, and we are that, even though mind may not think like that. So acceptance, there's a Miyokoni Osono who said, if you can say yes and accept, that's how you train. And if you ask me why I have so many videos, that's what I may be doing. Just confirming. The term Joriki in Japanese is steady power. There's life's steady power manifesting all the time. And we are one. If you experience we are one, and then realize that we are alive this moment, you feel the aliveness inside of you. If your mind is going crazy, you don't feel it. But if you let go, accept it. So the way of Zen is to learn, not by the mind, but learning in the sense of connecting to the core of who we are, at the absolute state of being. So it's interesting, Zen have so many koans, which is the paradox that you're at the place where you're cornered, you don't know how to answer. One of the koan I was talking the other day is that there's a story. The monks go to this temple and there's a tea house, and the monk asks which direction is this temple, and she gives the wrong direction all the time. So the monk's upset, and the Joshu is the name of the guy who was in charge of that temple. So, okay, I'll go figure out what's going on, deal with this woman. So he went up and had the tea and asked which way is this temple, which is he's the caregiver. He's the one who is the master of that temple. And she gave the wrong direction, and he just went that way. So that was Koan. And he came back and said, well, I took care of it. So what is the meaning of Koan? You go with the way, whatever happens. There's a lie and all the craziness in the world. Not just giving a wrong direction, that's just the easy one. The case may be, dystopian view of the AI, war, disease, meteorite, climate change, impermanence, lies, like this lady. And this guy, Joshua, was just going with the flow, not arguing. So he said he found this, what he calls the ordinary mind is the way, just the peaceful mind, the core of our mind, not up here in the brain, but the down deep. And that's the way. It's beyond right and wrong. And when you have it, it's like a blue sky. That's the core. And I went through that core. That is to say, whatever happens, you can deal with it. So that monk Joshua understood or got the sense of it, enlightened, but he said it took 30 years to get really be as the way, ordinary mind, whatever happens. So it's a contradiction, and to be free requires constant attention, joriki, and all the things, whether it's Uber or the war or dystopian view of the AI. Of course, we do our best, but beyond that, let the nature to take care. And that's always the case as I speak, I'm alive, not because of my free will, nature's way. So no way out. And here's a koan related to that. I said it's elsewhere. The thief trains his son to be a thief. And he got locked up in the warehouse and he couldn't get out. He made a noise. People came, opened up, and surprised them and ran away. So, point of this koan, I'm cutting it short, but basically is whatever the situation you fall into. It may not be an ethical example of, in this case, to be a thief to do this, but whether it's a thief or not, we get into the troubled situation. Come up with the intuitive and idea, and that is connected to the root for us to be alive. Be creative. Beyond the ethical issue, we have that source. Of course, you want to be ethical in what we do, but at the core, there's such a force. So let's confirm that, find a way. And let's aim, may all beings be happy by having such foundation for us to live by.